buttons. I don't have my example right now that has a lot of buttons, but we have sites that we have like the whole alphabet. That's why virtual keys. But so you have so many, and what happens is you'll get a scroll bar like that. The negative to it is though, where's filePro's button?
At the
Always
end.
At the end. So guess where cancel is? At the end. So
But if I paint across the bottom, delete and save and
yes,
whatever. At the
they go in the
beginning,
order that you want.
I can control that.
Yep.
Correct.
But what about buttons that don't have a corresponding icon? How do I define?
You define them just like today. They inherently get a default button. And the default button is not on this screen.
I'm lost on how we do it today because we don't have icons in GI conventional.
You don't put buttons in GI? They're just
No,
down there on
no,
the bottom of the
icons,
little square.
icons.
We get buttons
Oh.
with words in the middle
All
of
right.
it, but I don't get
That's essentially, you define them exactly the same. The icon is not related in the command. It's related much like drop-downs are.
I'll restate the question then. If I have a button that has a word in it, what icon goes with that undefined, non-standard button? And
Just a
how do I-
second, I'll find one.
A folder.
We're in a folder and
It looks like a folder.
Does
can
it
do-
match against the name to know what?
No,
You can
they're all
define them
be
anything you
folders
want.
until you define them.
That's not one. Trying to think where I might have.
Actually, you have the screen button. Can you show us how you change the screen button from a word on the bottom to an icon on the top?
Yeah, that's what you're gonna do.
Oh, here's your defaults. All this is, just like I showed you before, you had your backslash curly bracket. This one here would have said modified content. And let's see if I hover over it. Nope. And then it would have a letter associated with it, just like you do at any other button. The only difference is inherently it gets this icon. There's nothing different. Your GI today, the ones that you have defined on the bottom,
It would just say modify content.
it would say modified content below it and have that icon. Without, if you didn't do anything else.
There's no icons on
There is. If you moved it to web.
it. Yeah, yes. In normal GI, there's no icons at all.
Correct.
Other than the ones, little bitty bitty ones at
Right.
the very top.
So you define it exactly the same as far as the description of the button in your program processing.
But I want to put a picture of a gear there for
Correct.
modify content.
We have to go into style sheets. I haven't got it.
Okay. There's a way to do it.
Yes. This here is one of the kind of little cool things that I found. This is a show browse, and then when I hit the button to modify, it turns into a regular browse. So you can go up and down. Takes the focus away from the fields up here when I hit the M, and then puts them down here, and then when I exit, then it comes back to the show browse to show me my, oops, I hit the wrong button. But if I hit the exit, notice it came back to the show browse again.
Would it make sense to have all the fields grayed out if you weren't in update mode?
I'm not, if I'm not in update mode,
It's on the list.
I think that's that's the way it's defined when it comes through, the way inherently a filePro has to tell whether or not they're protected or not. So he's just interpreting that message that's coming through. Let me see. Let's see if I can get to. I know Tim said, Samba shares are not good and all that, but for this, I think it's easier to read
Copying files is okay. Accessing live databases through a software share.
yeah.
discouraged immensely. Over the internet,
Oops.
the latency issue, basically.
Okay, just for your knowledge, remember when I said that I didn't have to put the whole URL because I was located to root? This is essentially the directory location to be considered where root starts. It literally, we have the word root. So in this folder, anything in there is free game for you guys to touch without having to worry about us destroying it. If you go outside these parameters and start going into your modifying those style sheets and all that, don't count on us not overwriting them sometime. These are WAR files that we give to you guys. As such, they unzip and destroy what was there before in order to lay down their new contents. So, here's your playground. And as such, in this directory is primarily where you want to play. If you know anything on web. Here's my icons. Whoops, not that, sorry. Here's my icons. So, all these are my icons that I'm using. I just have to drop them in, and then I'll reference those, and I'll show you that here in a bit. So, you can define where that location is, so you can have one, let's say somebody wants white icons, somebody wants black icons and all that, you have that flexibility to change it. However, this is at a little heavier level, or more advanced level than just doing a filePro command. So, here's my themes. You see when I had themes equals whatever, right there they all are. This is where they're coming from. So there's my button one, and my gray one, my menu one, and then the bar one. I tried my best to comment them for you guys, so that when you look at them, that you could read them. Okay. Did you notice right here, the green parts are the comments. In order to make life a little easier, I took and made variables out of these, your standard colors. So all you have to do is change these 3 colors, and primarily most of it changes. If you want to go more individual, you'd have to just go down there and change the variables to the little colors. But for quick changes, right there's where the main theme of all the colors would be. Here's your logo. And that logo I'm referencing is the logo at the top of your screen, which you're not seeing on this one because my screen's too small, or short height width. Well, if I shrink it in, it probably would show up. I was hoping that, there it is. That little guy. All right, I'm gonna skip through a lot of these because it's just too much, I think, for just to start out with. Let's go down to the bottom. You can see there's a bunch of different things that you can adjust. Let's hit the scroll button. Ow, sorry, wrong file. I'm supposed to go to the JS file, I guess.
Are these regions handled in divs or iframes?
I don't know. Do you know offhand, Logan? I never paid attention.
These are iframes.
Iframes. Okay. Here, as far as what Tim was asking about changing colors, did you notice this is your color region? So you can associate a different color with it. that's where it would be stored. And then your buttons would go right in here. And this is the format. This one doesn't have it in there, but I'll show you. I'll go back to it's because I put it in the main one. But this says, you just label it ribbon icon, your name of the icon, how you want to see it, or what it looks for. So when you have like your button labeled, in this sense, photos, then it will use this image for its display.
So that keyword has to match up to your processing table name.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, one caveat, this has to be lowercase. It doesn't matter what you have on your buttons. I don't know, it's not Logan's fault on that one, it's just the way they did it, so, but that is a limitation that you have right there. But I'm telling you, right up here, and commented everywhere where you ended up being, where it's supposed to be, notice I did say it has to be a lowercase label. And then there, here's where your normal location is for your ribbon, or you could take and change, if you want to change the ribbon location, here's what you have to have this ribbon icon variable, and then you would tell where it's located. This one here is the global one. That's actually where I have all the ribbons right now of mine. They aren't in my theme, but you can use it in the theme or here. This is kind of like Etsy profile for like a Unix would be, where this would be .profile kind of relationship, where the theme itself overrules the global one. So you can define it by theme if you want your buttons defined, or else define it in the global one so it doesn't matter what my theme is. Like in Patrick's situation, his themes are colors. He doesn't really care. His buttons are his buttons. So they put theirs in this file location, the config override.js, and it looks very similar to this. It's just I commented it in the same manner as I'm saying, more or less. Put them here, and then the icons will change. Now, one thing to note: just because when I put the icons here, they aren't instantly going to change on most of your browsers. They get cached, so you have to unload that cache because it remembers the previous state of what that button had in its memory. So a lot of times we'll have to do a hard reload. I don't know if everybody knows, either empty your cache, or as I've gotten used to doing. And if you ever find something acting really weird, you just go up to a lot of times what I usually do is I right click in my browser and just do an inspect. Come over here to the reload and you click it and you see it says hard reload. Just click that and then boom, it refreshes it, and now it'll grab your new buttons and so forth. If something doesn't seem to be acting, or it acts up and it's not what you just changed it to, that's a good possibility it could be. And there's not really a way that we can do a hard reload that we've been able to find, just in the nature of it. So that is one thing to be aware of. If you're doing a site, it might be best to get your buttons done before distributing it out and then having to do hard reloads on all the clients that are out there.
If you're doing development, it seems like you could just disable all caching on your browser during development.
I don't know. Do you think that would work, Logan?
You said caching? Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, that should work.
Okay. So, anyways, that's where the buttons are. So, yeah, you have to modify the files on those. Let's see, I'll go back to that actual config file. That's this one that it was actually in. So there's my buttons that I have defined. This one says Apple, and then there is its file name. This one says export definitions. That's its icon, and so forth right down the line. So I just put them between here. I wrote a script in order to take in, so you could just choose what icon you want to use, and it'll write to this for you for the themes. If you aren't too comfortable with HTML and stuff like that, I'm going to try to get that out, and then you'll be able to just modify that and say, hey, I want a button, this is its load, just save it, and then it'll write to these files for you.
Hey, Chris,
Yeah.
what do you label or call, not the file name, but what do you describe this file as being? Is this your theme file, or how do you go about it?
This particular one is the configuration of the overall. The one I showed you here is a theme itself. It's in the theme folder, and you could put those just as easily in here, but those would only act in the theme, not across everything. Like if I didn't even build a theme, it wouldn't be in that.
So are there preset themes that come with the installed software?
Yeah, I built four themes, and you see they're in there, but I dealt those themes with relationship where they are of buttons.
Okay.
So you have the ribbon, that's just default, so there's not really a theme with that one. But then you have your west region with the menus, and then the bottom, which is the traditional location that it's at. Okay. Any questions on this? This I'm just skimming over because I know it's not really in filePro per se, but it has an effect on it. Yes?
Would it be possible to take the div into which FPGI is putting its content, make that a 1x1, and create, like on a stand file, and create the entire east region, west, east region as 100% of the space,
Right.
and then just communicate back with the event key back and forth. Essentially, hide the entire FPGI generated window, either through a CSS or by making it super small.
And interact with it?
And interact with it through an HTML. All HTML. I'm thinking bundling up JSON, JSON data forms back and forth between the really big.
We could probably, I'm not making any promises. It sounds like it's something that would be doable, but you're gonna have a lot of work on your end.
Well,
Because when you're doing actually every single one, you're not getting any honoring of that one leaving and all that other stuff.
Yeah, no.
And also, if you do a pop-up, it's not gonna pop up over in your east region.
Yeah. No, I get you get many of the event. You leave behind all the screen events, but at least you have the database and all the underlying code. Now you have the full flexibility of HTML forms.
It seems like it may be a possibility.
Okay, I'm just wondering, is there a minimum size to that mainframe?
It's for the east over here?
No,
No,
PowerPoint.
for the main FPGI frame.
The
Oh.
screen.
Screen? Honestly, it didn't enter my mind to what the minimum could be. I know it is very small.
But that's the only place you can enter fields directly into filePro. That's the only frame that will take correct data entry.
Chris?
Yeah.
You can do the right
top,
phone and then
up
close it when
above
you come
versus
out.
related info, there's an arrow you can click that will hide it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, but that's not what he's talking about. He's talking, well, oh, you're
Yeah,
saying
yeah, You
this?
click that one, yeah. There you go. Yeah.
I guess I could ask him to program that, and then you just expand it or contract it, just like
Okay.
we do the other ones.
All right, great.
There is a variable to expand and contract this for the menus.
Great. But then it just adds flexibility, so that way you could go back and forth, right? You could use FPGI forms, or you could use purely HTML forms and just pass JSON back and forth between them.
During the break, it was mentioned to me that one possibility would be to use the east frame to send commands to swap what's happening in the main frame between two different files or two different screens, sort of controlling it, but based on the action of the virtual key, switch to a different screen, or taking that file down, or putting a system in front of it, even so far as to swapping back to where it was before when you're done, as a absent tiling way to make the main screen to flop in different data entry screens potentially. So that's a possibility. If you look.
Okay. But I don't want to really get too much into those configurations, because if you don't know much about HTML and Java and scripting and stuff like that, it can get overwhelming. So.